What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Deontay Wilder steamrolls Bermane Stiverne in one round to retain his WBC heavyweight title. There is a couple of things I want to get to about this fight, but firstly, credit to Deontay Wilder. I mean, I expected Wilder to get an early knockout and do a good job, but sometimes that's easier said than done. I mean, I think Wilder is the type of fighter to fight down to the level of his opposition. We saw with Duhaupas and Spilka and Molina when he had trouble. And in the Bermane Stiverne situation, he needed a dominant performance where he didn't pick up any injuries and he gets a quick stoppage. And that's exactly what he got, because nobody wanted that fight. So if Wilder struggled with Stiverne in the rematch, then it damages his credibility. But he did exactly what he had to do, and he looked good doing it. Let's just talk about the fight quickly, the whole one round. Wilder comes out, popping a quick jab. Stiverne is sort of stationary with a high guard, extremely slow feet. Stiverne started by kind of fighting on the back foot. Wilder was popping that jab, looking for the right hand. In the first half of the round, the right hand from Wilder didn't really come into play. Then it kind of shifted. I think halfway through the round, Bermane Stiverne started to come forward a little bit, which in turn gave Wilder his opportunities. He dropped Bermane Stiverne with a nice right hand, set up with a jab. I think the right hand got through the guard and dropped Stiverne. For the first knockdown, Stiverne didn't look really hurt. It looked like it kind of just made him lose balance and he fell over, kind of thing. He gets up. His body language was terrible, by the way. Awful. He didn't want to win that fight, but gets dropped with a right hand. He gets up. He gets dropped again. I think it's another right hand, and this time Stiverne looked a bit more hurt. Stiverne gets up though, and Deontay then jumps in for the finish. He's against the ropes, flailing away, landing some big shots. And I think he finishes it with a left hook on the ropes, and it knocks out Bermane Stiverne. And Stiverne's against the ropes. He's looking limp. He's looking like a corpse, and that's all she wrote. Bermane Stiverne struggled to get up after that. You know, he clearly got rocked bad on the last knockdown where he got stopped. So Wilder did exactly what he had to do, and I think since he's won the title, I've not really been impressed, to be quite frank, with his title defences and his performances. But I felt he looked good last night, and I know it's against a guy who had no motivation and was pretty much shot, but listen, I mean, Wilder done the job, you know, he done his job. So credit to Deontay Wilder. I do want to talk about Bermane Stiverne because, firstly, man, I mean, I picked Deontay Wilder to win this fight, and I picked him to win the first fight. But the shape Bermane Stiverne showed up in was a disgrace, to be quite honest. 255 pounds, too much weight, too much lard. And he was like a turtle in there. He was so slow on his feet, you know. Didn't come to win at all. Look at his body language before the fight started, when he's facing off with Wilder, when the referee's sort of doing his instructions. Look at the body language. He just didn't want to be there. And look at his face when he got dropped for the first time. You know, I mean, the guy just didn't want to be there, and he stole a payday as far as I'm concerned. I thought the fight itself was a farce. That's not Deontay Wilder's fault. That is the WBC and, quite frankly, their incompetence. How they mandate Bermane Stiverne as the #1 contender is beyond me. Because ultimately, he's won one fight since losing the first fight to Deontay Wilder, and that was against his journeyman, Derek Rossi, and he got dropped in that fight. And some people say he didn't win that fight either. So the fact that Bermane Stiverne was even in the ring was a disgrace, to be quite honest. And the WBC should be ashamed of themselves, because that was one of the worst attempts at a heavyweight title I've ever seen. Disgraceful. And not even just a heavyweight title. That's one of the worst attempts at a title, full stop. Bermane Stiverne did not come to win. He came for a paycheck. And that's the reality. Again, not Deontay Wilder's fault. It's the WBC and their incompetence. Like I said, I'll say it again. I mean, Bermane Stiverne was an absolute... He was awful. He really was awful. And it's funny, he made all the excuses about the first fight being dehydrated, but the dehydrated Stiverne looked better, you know? So, poor. It was a poor quality heavyweight title fight, just because of the opponent, Stiverne. But yeah, I think he should retire. I don't want to see him in the ring again. As for Deontay Wilder, he does have options. I mean, there are unification fights with Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker. I would love either one of those fights. I think both fights would make for fireworks. In regards to the Joshua fight, as a fan, I would rather wait till the summer because ultimately that's a fight I plan on going to. If it happens in like February, can you get that at a stadium? I'm not so sure. I want to get tickets for it. I don't want to miss out. So, as a fan, I would rather see AJ versus Wilder in the summer at Wembley. So, mainly due to selfish reasons, I want to get tickets. Do you know what I mean? So, if it is the next fight and it happens in spring, that's cool. I'll still try and get tickets. But I just feel like in the summer, you know, it's going to be at Wembley, and I'll have better chance getting tickets because what stadium are they going to put this fight in February? I really can't see them doing a Wembley fight in February, you know, in the football season. I just can't see it. So, and also not only that, I mean, what clubs are going to let out their stadium in the season like that? I just can't see it. You know, I think the Wilder fight happens in the summer. I think that's the best time to do it, to be quite honest. And I would love to buy tickets for that fight. So Wilder Joshua is the end goal, but Wilder has options, man. He could have Parker if Parker wants it. Dillian Whyte's been calling for that fight for a minute, and again, I know a lot of people are turning their nose up, but Dillian Whyte will come to fight. He'll give it a go, and arguably, well, not arguably, to me, Dillian Whyte would be Deontay Wilder's best voluntary defense. He really would. So, and not only that, he grows his appeal in the UK, because I know it's goes on deaf ears, but nobody knows who Deontay Wilder is over here in terms of casuals. Nobody knows who he is. So, and I know the fight, we're boxing fans, we want to see the fight next, but if you're Eddie Hearn, do you have an interim fight where you can make the fight bigger and in turn make more money? Or do you do it next and make less money? It's a simple question. I mean, it is what it is, man. I think the fight's going to happen. I think people are getting a bit too impatient. The fight's going to happen. It's got to happen because Joshua doesn't exactly have loads of options. If he doesn't fight Wilder, who's he going to fight? Yeah, he could fight Parker next, which is a good fight. But after Parker, who's there? Is Tyson Fury really going to get back in shape? I'm not so sure. If Tyson Fury does get back into shape, then the Wilder fight does go on the back burner because that's a bigger fight. But I mean, Anthony Joshua doesn't exactly have tons of options either. So the fight's going to happen. A lot of you guys are getting too impatient. You're getting too, you know, emotional about it. Ultimately, all these fights take time to make. Look at the Golovkin versus Canelo fight. That took a couple of years to make. Look at Floyd versus Pacquiao. That took God knows how long to make. You know, Leonard versus Hagler. All these fights don't happen overnight. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I felt Deontay Wilder done a good job. He looked powerful, he looked quick, and he done the job, man. He done the job. And this sets up 2018 in the heavyweight division to be extremely interesting. You know, we've got obviously the two main guys, Joshua and Wilder, and maybe we could get Tyson Fury back. So, some exciting times at heavyweight next year. What do you guys think? Peace.